Okay, welcome back in. I'm now going to be reviewing Tuesday's action from the National Hockey League. There were a total of 11 games. This might take a few minutes. Starting in Montreal, the team I love to death, but it seems like it's more hard than anything, as they played host to the Calgary Flames. There was no scoring in the first. Connor Zary would kick things off for the Flames in the second, getting his third goal of the year from Kadri, and Miro Manov just over 4 minutes into the second frame. Brendan Gallagher would tie the game up, getting a power play goal with 3 minutes and 37 seconds to go. For Gallagher, that'd be his fifth goal of the year from Armia and Kapanen. So heading into the third period, I apologize, we were tied up at 1. Speaking of Armia, he got on the goal scorer sheet himself, getting a goal and an assist in this matchup. That'd be his second goal of the season, shorthanded from Jake Evans, 5:56 of the third period. Matt Coronado would tie the game up with 2 minutes and 46 seconds to go. For Coronado, that'd be his third goal of the year, assisted by Blake Coleman. We would need overtime to settle this one, and the man who tied it scored just 7 seconds into the overtime frame. Unreal, giving the Flames a 3-2 win. The Buffalo Sabres played host to the Ottawa Senators. In the first period, J.J. Peterka would get his fifth goal of the year from Zucker, a power play goal, 6 minutes and 37 seconds into the first. So heading into the second, the Sabres had a 1-0 lead. Bowen Byram would make it 2-0, getting his second goal of the season from Ryan McLeod and Rasmus Dahlin just 17 seconds into the middle frame. Ridley Gregg would make it 2-1, getting his second goal of the year from Stützle and Tkachuk, 7 minutes and 31 seconds into the middle frame. Heading into the third, the Sabres had a 2-1 lead. Bowen Byram would get his second goal of the game, his third of the season from Greenway and McLeod, just 21 seconds into the third, giving Buffalo a 3-1 lead. Tage Thompson would score 16 seconds after that, increasing the lead to 4-1. For Thompson, that'd be his eighth goal of the year from Tuck and Peterka. With just under 8 minutes to go, J.J. Peterka would get his second goal of the game, a power play marker, his sixth of the season, assisted by Thompson and Dahlin. So the Sabres would win big, 5-1. An original six matchup took place in Toronto as the Maple Leafs played host to the Boston Bruins. In the second period, there was no scoring in the first. Morgan Riley would give the Blue Shirts a one goal lead, obviously, getting his fourth of the season from Marner and Nyes, a power play marker, just over 8 minutes into the period. William Nylander would strike, getting his 10th goal of the season, a power play goal as well from Marner and Morgan Riley, roughly halfway through that middle frame. So the Leafs had a 2-0 lead heading into the third. Matthew Nyes would increase the lead to 3-0, getting a power play goal of his own, his seventh of the season from Nylander and Morgan Riley. So between Riley, Nylander, and Marner, those guys all seem to be on the goal scorer sheet one way or the other. The Bruins would pull their goalie with just over 4 minutes to go. Unfortunately, it did not pan out. Steven Lorentz would get credited with the empty net goal, his third of the season, assisted by Tanev. So the Maple Leafs would shut out the Bruins 4-0. The Carolina Hurricanes played host to the Philadelphia Flyers. In the first, Travis Konechny. I love this guy because I have him on my fantasy team, so anytime he scores, it definitely helps me out. Getting his sixth goal of the year, a power play goal from Tippett and Michkov, 7:54 of the opening period. Jackson Blake would tie the game up with 5 minutes and 35 seconds to go, getting his fourth goal of the year from Drury and Orlov. So heading into the second period, we were tied up at 1. In the second period, Eric Robinson would give the Canes their first lead of the game, his second goal of the season from Nietzsche and Brett Burns, 8:56 of the middle frame. Jordan Martinook would give the Hurricanes a 2-goal lead, getting his first goal of the season from Slavin and Brett Burns, just over 9 minutes into that period. Owen Tippett would cut the deficit to 3-2, getting his second goal of the season from Konechny and Sean Couturier, and that goal happened with 6.5 minutes to go. So heading into the third, the Hurricanes had a 3-2 lead. Morgan Frost would tie the game up at 3, getting his first goal of the season from Sanheim and Konechny, a minute and 18 seconds into the third. Jack Roslovic would break the tie less than 30 seconds after that, getting his 7th goal of the year from Svechnikov and Sebastian Aho. Travis Konechny would tie the game up 9:17 of the third, getting his 7th of the season, assisted by Couturier. Martin Necas would break the tie with just about 30 seconds to go. It looked like this game might be heading to overtime, but Necas would end up breaking the tie, giving them a 5-4 lead. The Flyers would pull their goalie, and Seth Jarvis would get the empty net goal with just 2 seconds remaining. And for Jarvis, that'd be his 4th goal of the season. So a wild third period, to say the least, and the Hurricanes came out on top. The New York Islanders played host to the Pittsburgh Penguins. There was no scoring in the first, and big surprise, Sidney Crosby would break the tie in the second, getting his 6th goal of the year from Malkin and Raquel, 5:27 of the second frame. Kyle Palmieri would tie the game up, getting his 6th goal of the year from Horvat and Seplikov, 12:21 of the second frame. Evgeny Malkin would score about a minute and 16 seconds after that, a power play goal, his 4th of the season from Grizzlejic and Raquel. So heading into the third period, the Penguins had a 2-1 lead. In the third, Michael Bunting would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 1st goal of the year from Jesse Puljujarvi and Noel Acciari, 7:44 of the third frame. Simon Holmstrom would get his 1st goal of the season, a power play goal from Palmieri and Pollock, 9:41 of the third frame, cutting the deficit to 3-2. And if I didn't say it was a power play goal, I did now. Jean-Gabriel Pageau would tie the game up, 12:48 of the third frame, getting his 3rd goal of the year from Horvat and Anders Lee. This game would need extra time. Unfortunately, nothing was settled in overtime, so we had to go to a shootout, and Bo Horvat would get the game-winning goal for the Islanders. They would win 4-3, the final score. The St. Louis Blues played host to the Tampa Bay Lightning. There was no scoring in the first. Nick Perbix would kick things off in the second, getting his 1st goal of the year from Cirelli and Kucherov just over 2 minutes into the middle frame. Oscar Sundqvist would tie the game up at 1, getting his 1st goal of the season from Kessel and Bolduc, 7:57 of the second period. Alexei Torpachenko would break the tie with a minute and 35 seconds to go. For Torpachenko, that'd be his 1st goal of the season, assisted by Faxa. So heading into the third period, we had 3 goals. It was 2-1 in favor of St. Louis. Jordan Kyrou would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 4th goal of the year from Shen and Saad, 8:51 of the third frame. The captain, Victor Hedman, would cut the deficit to 3-2, getting his 3rd goal of the season from Nikita Kucherov. But unfortunately, Tampa Bay was not able to mount a comeback, so 3-2 would be the final score in favor of St. Louis. The Minnesota Wild played host to the Los Angeles Kings. There's no scoring in the first. Zach Bogosian would kick things off in the second, getting his 1st goal of the year from Gaudreau and Hartman, 7:31 of the middle frame. Warren Fogle, who seems to be fitting right in perfectly with the Kings, would get his 5th goal of the year from Lafayette and Byfield, and that goal had 5.5 minutes to go. With a minute and 5 seconds remaining on the clock, Kevin Fiala would break the tie, getting his 7th goal of the season, a power play goal from Lafayette and Anze Kopitar. So heading into the third period, the Kings had a 2-1 lead. Trevor Lewis would increase the lead to 3-1 in the third period, getting his 2nd goal of the season from Lee and Janot. Quentin Byfield will get his 1st goal of the season from Gabriel and Trevor Moore, 14:12 of the third period. The Wild would pull a goalie with just about 4 minutes remaining. Unfortunately, it did not pan out, as Trevor Lewis would get his 2nd goal of the game, his 3rd of the year, from Deneau and Trevor Moore. So the Kings would win big, 5-1. The Utah Hockey Club were in Winnipeg to take on the Jets. There was no scoring in the first. How many times have I said that already? Gabriel Velarde would kick things off in the second, getting his 5th goal of the year, a power play marker from Morrissey and Scheifele, and that goal happened with 3 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the middle frame. Nito Niederreiter would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 6th goal of the year from Appleton and Lowry, 7.5 minutes in the third, giving the Jets a 2-0 lead. He would strike again with just roughly 3 minutes to go, getting his second goal of the game, his 7th of the season, assisted by Lowry and Sandberg. So the Jets would shut out the Utah Hockey Club 3-0, and Hellebuck made 21 saves for the shutout. He is definitely turning back to his Vezina form from last year. The Colorado Avalanche played host to the Seattle Kraken. McKinnon is just unreal. As you can see, he has 5 points. He's on like a 13 or 14 game point streak to start the season, which is absolutely absurd. Chris Wagner would kick things off in the first, getting his first of the season, as I said, assisted by McKinnon. That was his first point. And Sam Girard, 2:28 of the first period. Jaden Schwartz would strike with about 7 minutes to go, getting his third goal of the year, assisted by Matt Beniers and Ryan Evans. Ivan, I love that. His first and his last name are the exact same. That's so awesome. His third goal of the season, assisted by Kovalenko and McKinnon, and that goal happened with 5 minutes and 48 seconds to go. So the Avs had a 2-1 lead heading into the second. Jared McCain would score in the second, just 23 seconds into that middle frame, a power play goal, his 6th of the season, assisted by Chandler Stevenson. Welcome back Arturi Lehkonen, his first game of this season, getting his first goal, which is fantastic, a power play goal from McKinnon and Makar, just over 6 minutes into the middle frame. And as a Habs fan, I miss that guy. He obviously helped send Montreal to the finals back in 2021. It's a shame we weren't able to hang on to him, but to his credit, he won a Stanley Cup with the Avs just 2 seasons ago. Mikko Rantanen would increase the lead to 4-2, and I like him because I have him on my fantasy team, getting his 5th goal of the year, a power play marker from Makar and McKinnon. So the Avs had a 4-2 lead heading into the third period. Matt Beniers would cut the deficit to 4-3 with 2.5 minutes to go, getting his 3rd goal of the year, assisted by Montour and McCann. Mikko Rantanen would score an empty net goal, getting his 2nd goal of the game, his 6th of the season from Lehkonen and McKinnon. And then with just 2 seconds to go, the Avs already had the game won, but they would get a power play goal from Kovalenko, assisted by Middlestad and Josh Manson. So the Avs would double up on the Kraken 6-3. A battle in the Pacific Division as the Anaheim Ducks played host to the Vancouver Canucks. In the first period, finally we had some scoring in the first period. Olen Zellweger would get his 2nd goal of the season, a power play goal from Terry and McTavish, 5:35 of the opening frame. Brock Besser would tie the game up with 3 minutes and 38 seconds to go, getting his 6th goal of the season, a power play goal from Quinn Hughes and JT Miller. Kiefer Sherwood would score roughly a minute after that, giving the Canucks their first lead of the game, his 3rd of the season from Brandstrom and Heinen. So heading into the second period, the Canucks had a 2-1 lead. Just the one goal to report in the second. Elias Pettersson would get his 2nd goal of the year from Quinn Hughes and Garland, and that goal happened 2 minutes and 20 seconds of the second frame. So Vancouver had a 3-1 lead heading into the third. Jake DeBrusk would get his 2nd goal of the season from Besser and Quinn Hughes, 12:08 of the third. And then Danton Heinen would increase the lead to 5-1, getting his 3rd goal of the year from Sherwood and Bluger. So the Canucks would go into Anaheim and win big 5-1. Quinn Hughes, as you can see, had 3 assists to reach 300 in his NHL career. It's hard to believe he's been in the league for 5 years or 6 years already. Time really does fly by. And the last game from last night took place in San Jose, who are really turning the page, to say the least, after getting off to a very poor start to the season. So in the second period, Jack Thompson would get his 1st goal of the season, assisted by Will Smith and Zetterlund, and that goal happened with 1 minute and 11 seconds to go in the frame. In the third, Kirill Marchenko would tie the game up, getting his 5th goal of the year from Severson and Chitikov, and that goal happened 9 minutes and 17 seconds of the third period. We would need overtime to settle this one, and Alex Wenberg, who already had a game-winning goal in overtime prior to this, will get his 3rd goal of the year from Zetterlund and Vanacek, 3:11 of the overtime frame. So the Sharks would win 2-1 in overtime. All right, now that I'm all caught up, let's take a look at the standings as of, I guess technically now it'd be Wednesday morning. So no surprise here, the Florida Panthers are still first in the Atlantic Division with a record of 9-3-1. They have 19 points. The Toronto Maple Leafs, after their win, are 7-5-2. They have 16 points. And to top up the top three, the Tampa Bay Lightning are 7-6-0. They have 14 points. In the Metropolitan Division, there's a new leader as the Carolina Hurricanes are 9-2-0. They have 18 points. The Devils have the exact same amount of points, but they're 8-5-2 is their record. The Rangers are 8-2-1, 17 points, so just 1 point is separating three teams in that division. But again, the season is still young. I don't even think we're a quarter way through it, to be honest with you. The top two teams in the wild card position are the Washington Capitals. They have a record of 8-3-0. They have 16 points. And the Boston Bruins are 6-7-1. They have 13 points. Rounding out the rest of the Eastern Division, the Sens are just a point behind Boston. They're 6-6-0. The Blue Jackets are 5-5-2. They have 12 points. The Islanders are 5-6-2. They also have 12 points. And the Penguins are 5-7-2. They also have 12 points as well. The Detroit Red Wings are 5-5-1. They have 11 points. Buffalo Sabres are 5-7-1. They have 11 points. Montreal is 4-7-2. They have 10 points. And the Philadelphia Flyers are 4-8-1. They have 9 points. So there's really 4 points separating Philly from Boston. Over in the West, no surprise here, the Jets seem to be running away with that division. They have a record of 12-1-0 for 24 points. Minnesota is 8-2-2. They have 18 points. The Dallas Stars are 7-4-0. They have 14 points. Over in the Pacific Division, the Los Angeles Kings, I believe, are in first place for the first time this season. Their record is 8-3-3. They have 19 points. The Vegas Golden Knights are 8-3-1. They have 17 points. And the Vancouver Canucks are 6-2-3. They have 15 points. The two teams in the wildcard position are the Calgary Flames with a record of 7-5-1. They have 15 points. And the St. Louis Blues are 7-6-0. They have 14 points. Rounding out the rest of the Western Conference, the Edmonton Oilers are 6-6-1. They have 13 points. The Utah Hockey Club are 5-5-3. They also have 13 points. With their win last night, the Avalanche are 6-7-0. They have 12 points. They're only 2 points behind the Blues. The Blackhawks are 5-7-1. They have 11 points. The Seattle Kraken are 5-8-1. They have 11 points as well. The Anaheim Ducks are 4-6-2. They have 10 points. The San Jose Sharks are 4-8-2. They also have 10 points. And the Nashville Predators are playing extremely poorly. I don't think anybody would have thought they'd be at the bottom of the Western Conference with a record of 4-7-1. They have 9 points. So after 12 games, they still haven't even cracked double digits in points, which is absurd with the amount of moves they made in the offseason. So they are definitely underperforming, to say the least. And I have Saros in my fantasy league, and it's just killing me whenever I see his name and an L beside it. Okay. We're all caught up now as of Wednesday morning for the NHL review. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, and as always, take care.